Sergeant Kevin Allen. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Portland Police Bureau. The Portland Police Homicide Unit is primary investigator on this particular incident, which is why I'm talking about it. It's important to note, however, that the investigation, the call, was really a collaboration between the Transit Police Unit and Portland Police. So we had patrol here from Portland Police, and then we had Transit Police units as well that were a part of this investigation. And that's why some of my colleagues are here, and of course TriMet is a really important partner for us as well. TriMet is here and will be able to answer any questions. But this started at a little bit before 6 a.m. Here on the platform, where officers were dispatched a report of an assault that had happened. They got here, and initial information was that the victim was injured and was transported to the hospital by ambulance. The information that was given to us by staff at the hospital was that these injuries to the victim were life-threatening. And due to the severity of those injuries, the officers and deputies on scene called for the detectives to come out, and that came to the Portland Police Homicide Unit. So the Homicide Unit responded to the scene and are currently investigating the case. My understanding, the condition of the victim is very grave. The fact that homicide detectives came out really speaks to the level of the injury. I don't have specifics about what kind of injury or anything, or like a prognosis, other than severe life-threatening injuries at this point. The victim is an adult male, and he is currently being treated at the hospital. The suspect was taken into custody on scene here, detained by police, and is now in the custody of the detective division. They're still working the case. I don't have a resolution, because whenever we do a homicide investigation, it's very methodical and deliberate. It takes a long time. It is not unusual for a homicide investigation to take 8, 10, 12 hours or more. And the reason that it takes so long is because we want to make sure we get everything right. There's only one chance for us to do an investigation of this magnitude, because every step of the way will be scrutinized later on in a court setting, most likely, and so we have to be very careful and deliberate about that. So that investigation is ongoing as we speak, and we'll keep pursuing that, and then when there is some news to report, whether there's charges being filed, or if there's an update on the victim's description, we'll send that out by press release. That's all I have. Mark from TriMet is here, and I think you had some statements to make. Okay, so I'm going to let Mark give his statement, and then all of us will be available if you guys have any questions.
Everyone, I'm Mark Miller, M-A-R-K-M-I-L-L-E-R. I'm Public Information Officer with TriMet. This is obviously a very difficult, tragic situation. Our hearts go out to the victim and his loved ones. We're also very grateful for the rapid response and quick action from our law enforcement partners. You see behind me the Portland Police Bureau and the Transit Police Unit. They are just such invaluable guardians in our community, and we really appreciate their quick response, apprehending this suspect, getting this person who's dangerous off of our streets before they could cause any harm to anybody else.
I have a question for Sergeant Allen.
Sure.
So you did say suspect just now. In the release earlier, it said that this person was detained. So the person that is detained, they are a suspect?
Yes, good catch. We are considering the person a suspect at this point, and I can't say that charges will be filed yet, because the work has to be done by the detectives, including interviews, evidence collection and analysis, and all of the other steps that they take. It's also important to note that the Multnomah County District Attorney is involved in these processes for homicide investigations from the very beginning. So they are involved in that as well, to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row, and that we're doing everything right to make sure that in a future prosecution, that can be as successful as possible.
Do they know each other at all?
I do not have confirmation on whether this was a stranger event or whether it was people who knew each other. That's a key question, I know, and that's one of the things that we're definitely looking at. We don't want to speculate because we don't want to put out information that we have to change later, but that's a key part of the investigation is whether these two knew each other before the assault happened.
Do you know if the victim was getting on or off the max and if the suspect was also on with them at any point?
We don't know if they were actually riding transit or just in the area. We know that it happened here, on the transit property, which again is the reason that the transit police unit was initially dispatched to this call. But we'll certainly be looking, going backwards in time to determine, where they first interacted each other and what was involved there. But certainly, whenever we have a crime that involves our transit system, that adds to our level of concern because we know it's a system that a lot of people use, and we want to make sure that everyone feels safe using transit.
Did any of the violence happen on the max train itself or solely on the platform?
I don't know of any violence happening on any MAX trains or buses. That has not been suggested to me. That's not saying that didn't happen. But at this point in the investigation, it looks like whatever the confrontation was that happened, it happened here on the platform.
Was a weapon used at all?
I have asked homicide if they could characterize what type of assault we're talking about. Because they still have some work to do to determine what that was, they want to be very careful about what we say. It was not a shooting. There was no gunfire involved, I can say that. But beyond that, all we're going to say right now is that it was an assault.
I have a question for Mark, if you don't mind. Obviously, the private school for security, we see cameras all over this platform. Is there video of this assault? Will you be releasing that on students after presenting our government?
I can't speak to any specifics about the footage or when that might be available for release. What I can tell you is that we're working very, very closely with our law enforcement partners. Absolutely want to see this person brought to justice, prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and we will work with them and provide whatever we can to facilitate that happening.
But you can't confirm whether this assault was captured on surveillance video at all?
I'd have to check back in with you. I can do that.
For Sergeant Allen, who contacted you guys? Who called the police?
I don't know how the original call came in. I looked at the CAD call, but I don't know if it was a passerby or somebody who was involved. I'd have to look that up.
We don't know if there were bystanders present while it happened.
I'm comfortable saying that there were other people around, yes. And that's one of the things that we do is make sure that we do interviews of all the people that were here. And that's one of the reasons that we're so careful about the information that we're putting out because there were people here, they may have witnessed things from their perception. We don't want to taint that by releasing more information that they could find out before they actually speak to detectives. So our ask to anyone who was here when this happened or shortly before it happened, if they haven't talked to the police, we would appreciate them reaching out. The primary detective's contact information is in our press release, and so we're certainly hoping that anybody that has information will reach out to us. And I will note too, with regard to cameras, I mean, it's no secret that the transit facilities are well covered by security cameras. And so looking at that security footage is a key part of our investigation. That's evidence. And so we'll be looking at that to see whether or not this incident was actually captured and also what led up to it. And that'll be in the case file really from the beginning.
Last question for me, Mark.
Okay.
Bruce, really quick. Is there going to be any, I know obviously there's a lot of cameras, lots of transit police. Is there any other steps maybe, especially that just happened today, moving forward, like extra security, extra anything, any changes being made as of today moving forward?
Well, I want to emphasize that TriMet provides over 1 million rides every week, and the vast majority of these happen without incident. We completely understand the community's concerns. We take incidents like this extremely seriously. We have increased our safety and security staffing over the course of about the past 3 years by about double, and we also are working closely with our law enforcement partners. This will definitely be something that we're taking a look at, and we'll be continuing to work with our law enforcement partners moving forward.
And I can speak to that a little bit from the transit police unit's point of view. I'm Deputy John Plock. I'm the public information officer from the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, which is the command agency for transit police. And our data actually shows that over the past 3 years, year to year, calls for service related to TriMet have actually been trending downward. And so, these incidents are tragic and awful. We hate to see them, but the reality is that the TriMet system is safe, and we want people to feel safe riding TriMet. If people have issues on the TriMet system, we encourage them to call 911, and we will be there to help them.
Actually, I just want to follow up on
Yeah.
your point. We've covered the data that does show that incidents in and around TriMet or public transit are on a downward trend. We've also covered a recent poll where the perception of safety on TriMet isn't really changing. In fact, we're kind of seeing a reverse of that. Do you have a comment on the fact that the perception doesn't really meet the data or the reality?
Yeah, it's a challenge, and the reality is that the feeling of safety is very personal to every individual. And it's easy for me to stand here and say that statistically TriMet is very safe. People are going to see this news story, and it's going to cause angst and fear. Hopefully we can bridge that gap somewhere.
Okay. Anything else? All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
We will when you.